Hello everyone and welcome back to another Marvel Champions video. Today Fantasy Flight revealed a bunch of cards for the upcoming Vision deck. So I'm starting off with these mass cards first. So Vision has two mass forms. He has Intangible and Dense. And we're going to go through these forms first, and then we're going to get into the character and the rest of the cards. So this is Intangible. It's an upgrade. Mass form permanent, and Vision cannot attack or defend. Reduce the amount of damage Vision takes from each attack by 2. So if he's in an intangible form, he can't attack or defend, but he also takes less damage. So that's that form. And there's going to be cards in his deck that will do something depending on what form he's in. So like there's some cards that will say, if he's in intangible form, do this. Or I imagine there's going to be cards that will say, play only if you're in dense form, or play only if you're in intangible form. So that is the intangible form. We're going to move into our dense form card right now. And next up we have Dense. This is his other form. It's a mass form that's permanent. And while Vision is in hero mode, or hero form, he gets +2 attack and +2 defense. And as a response, after you change to this form, draw a card. So, again, there is Intangible and Dense. This gives him 2 attack and 2 defense. And then once you flip into it, you get to draw a card. So now that we've got those out of the way, we're actually going to jump into Vision's alter ego and his hero form. And then we're going to look at some of his other cards as well. We'll be right back with that. Alright, and now we have Vision on his alter ego side. So, has 3 recovery, hand size of 5, hit points are 11. He's an android, and while you are in dense mass form, you get +2 recovery. So if he's dense, he can recover 5. And while you are in intangible form, you get +1 hand size. So his hand size goes up to 6. And as a setup, put your mass form upgrades into play with the intangible side face up. So he starts off in intangible, and then there's going to be cards that will allow you to flip between intangible and mass. So that's his alter ego side. We're going to jump into his hero side, and we'll be right back with that. Alright, and we are now back with Vision on his hero side. So hand size is still 5 with 11 hit points. So his hand size doesn't go down when he changes into hero form or to alter ego form. It stays the same. It's still low because it's still only 5. Usually a lot of characters will have a hand size of 5 or a hand size of 6. And then when they flip into hero form, it goes up to 5. But 2 thwart, 0 attack, 0 defense. Again, if you're in dense form, he's basically 2/2/2 because 2 thwart, dense form gives him +2 attack and +2 defense. But if you're in intangible form, you can't attack or defend. And then he has, so he's an android and an Avenger, and has density manipulation. As an action, change mass forms by flipping your mass form upgrade over. Limit once per round. So you can go from dense to intangible, intangible to dense, and so on. But that's only once per round. So that is Vision on his hero side. We're going to look at some of his other cards. Alright, and first up here we have Vision's Cape. It's a 2-cost upgrade. Generates a physical resource if you discard it to spend it on another card. It's an item, and when you are in dense mass form, you gain Retaliate 1. So when you get attacked, you ping 1 damage to something. And while you're in intangible form, you gain Stalwart. I think Stalwart, you can't be confused or stunned. I forget exactly what Stalwart does. But that is Vision's Cape. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Solar Beam. It's a 3-cost event. Generates an energy resource if you discard it. It's an attack, a superpower, and a thwart. Hero action attack. If Vision is in dense mass form, deal 7 damage to an enemy. And if Vision is in intangible mass form, remove 5 threat from a scheme. So, depending on what you're in, you'll be able to do either a lot of damage or remove a lot of threat. Basically, so like if you need to use your density manipulation, you can flip to whatever form you need, then play your Solar Beam, and depending on what form you're in, you can either be doing a ton of damage or getting rid of a bunch of threats. So that's a pretty good card. It's very based on what you need. Basically, you flip into whatever energy form you need to trigger whatever you want. And if you want to get rid of a threat, you have to be in intangible form. If you want to do damage, be in dense form. So that is Solar Beam. It's a pretty good card. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Density Control. It's a 1-cost upgrade. Generates a mental resource if you discard it. It's a superpower. And as a hero response, after you change mass form, discard this card, add a vision event card from your discard pile to your hand. So let's say like you want to go from dense to intangible, you do that, and is responding to the form being changed. You basically discard this card, and then you get a vision event back. So let's say you want to get your solar beam back. Once you change forms, you have this out, and when you change form, it comes into play. And then when you change forms, you have the option to discard it to grab an event. So if you have a really powerful event, it's a good way to get that event back into your hand. So that is density control. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have phase disruption. It's a 2-cost event. Generates an energy resource if you discard it. It's a superpower. Play only if vision is in intangible mass form. And as a hero action, confuse an enemy. Choose an attachment on that enemy with the text hero action or hero response and discard that attachment. So a lot of attachments come out, they go on enemies, and it'll say like hero action or hero response, pay 3 resources to discard this card, or pay like 1 of each resource type, or 3 resources. It'll say like pay a physical, a mental, and an energy resource to discard this. This allows you to not only confuse the enemy, but to discard 1 of their major upgrades. I don't know if Rhino's super attack, the thing that gives his attacks overkill, if that has hero action or hero response on it. If it does, this card here, phase disruption, is a good way to get rid of that. So, or basically get rid of any of the kind of like the upgrades on enemies that say, like as a hero action, pay resources to get rid of this card. So that is phase disruption. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Mass Increase. It's a 1-cost event. Generates a physical resource if you discard it. It's a defense and a superpower. Play only if vision is in dense mass form. It's a hero interrupt on defense. When vision defends, prevent all damage from that attack. Stun the attacking enemy after the attack resolves. So basically, you play it, you prevent all the damage from the attack, and then the enemy also gets stunned after the attack continues or resolves, doing whatever effects happen. But it's a cool way to pay. You pay 1, you can basically prevent a bunch of damage and stun the enemy. That's pretty good. So that is Mass Increase. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have 616 Hickory Branch Lane. It's a 1-cost support. Generates a mental resource if you discard it. It's a location. And it's an alter ego action. Exhaust this card. Search your deck and discard pile for an android ally and add it to your hand, and then shuffle. So Vish is going to have a bunch of different android allies in his deck. That this will allow you to basically search your deck for one of those android allies and add it to your hand. It also allows you to reshuffle or shuffle your deck, which if all your good cards are somehow at the bottom of your deck, this allows you to reshuffle the deck and hopefully get them closer to the top. But the major thing here is that you're going to be basically digging out an android ally from either your deck or your discard pile. Or yeah, I guess you get to search both. So search your deck and discard pile for an android ally, add it to your hand, and then shuffle. So that's a pretty good way to get an android ally out, especially if you need people to help you defend and stuff like that. So that is 616 Hickory Branch Lane. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Vivian. It's a 2-cost ally. Generates a wild resource if you discard it. 1 thwart, 1 attack with 1 consequential damage for each. Comes in with 2 hit points. It's an android and a champion. And while you are in intangible mass form, Vivian gets +2 thwart. And while you are in dense form, Vivian gets +2 attack. So depending on if you need attack or thwarting, you can basically switch forms. And then whatever form you're in, she'll get either additional thwart or additional attacks. If you need to remove more threat, you can basically switch over to intangible form, and then her thwart will be 3. So that's pretty good. Or she'll have a 3 attack, and then it comes in with 2 hit points as well. So she seems pretty cool. So 2 cost, and then 2 cost comes in with 2 hit points, and then it's either going to again get additional thwart or additional attack depending on what form you're in. So that is Vivian. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Victor Mancha, or Mancha. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. 2-cost ally, generates an energy resource if you discard it. 0 thwart, 0 attack for 1 consequential damage. It's an android and an avenger. Comes in with 4 hit points. And reduce the amount of damage Victor Mancha takes from each attack by 1. So basically no attack, no thwart. That can be increased through cards that basically like increase the attack of like your allies, or cards that increase your thwart. But I think what they're going for with this card is going to be very good at just blocking damage. So again, 4 hit points, and then basically reduces damage taken from each attack by 1. So this card will be able to be out, probably take a couple of attacks depending on how big the attacks are, and basically just be a pretty good like chump blocker. So that card's gonna be good for basically just blocking damage and that kind of thing as well. Again, you can increase the thwart and the attack with other cards, but I think what they're going for is basically just going to be a really good defense blocking card. So that is Victor Mancha. We're going to move into our next card. And next up we have Machine Man. It's a 2-cost ally. Generates a physical resource if you discard it. It looks like this one is not from Vision's deck, but it's just a basic card. So 1 thwart, 1 attack for 1 consequential damage each. Comes in with 3 hit points. It's an android. And as an interrupt, when Machine Man attacks or thwarts, spend up to 3 resources of any type. Machine Man gets +1 thwart and +1 attack for each resource spent this way. So if you have a bunch of cards in your hand that you're not going to use or you can't really use, you can use those cards to pump up the thwart and the attack on this card. So again, 1 attack, 1 thwart to start. But if you do 3 resources, you can have, like a thwart of 4 or an attack of 4 for just 1 consequential damage. That's pretty big, especially when Machine Man also has 3 hit points. But then you're having to discard cards to do that. So it depends on what's in your hand. So you're probably not always going to be wanting to basically just get rid of 3 cards, unless it's going to be like enough to like win the game or something like that, or defeat a really powerful like minion or something. But being able to pump the attack and thwart of this card is pretty big. Especially because, like, if you do it, let's say you do it 3 turns in a row with this character. Let's say you're not defending with them, but you can do an attack of 4 or a thwart of 4 3 times, because you get at least 1, and then you can pump it up by discarding resources. So basically, like you can basically if you were to attack 3 turns in a row with Machine Man, you'd be doing 12 damage. That's pretty big. Or removing a total of 12 threat as well. So that's pretty huge. So this is Machine Man. We're going to move into our next card. And next up we have Joecosta, a 3-cost ally. Generates a mental resource if you discard it. 2 thwart for 2 consequential damage. 1 attack for 1 consequential damage. Comes in with 3 hit points and is also an android and an avenger. And you may play the event attached to Joecosta as if it were in your hand. And as a response, after Joecosta enters play, choose a defense event in your discard pile and attach it to her face down. So I don't know if that means if you attach the event, if it stays attached until she gets defeated, or if once you use the card, it gets discarded as well. So, but it says you may play the event attached to Joecosta as if it were in your hand. You're still going to have to pay the resource cost on it, but I don't know if it's a one-use thing. So if you use it, it gets discarded, or if it just stays out until she gets until she gets defeated. But so again, 2 thwart for 2, or 1 attack for 1, and then 3 hit points as well. So that is Joecosta. We're going to move into our next card. And next up we have is Defiance. It's a 0-cost event. Generates an energy resource if you discard it. It's a defense card. So Hero Interrupt Defense. When a boost card on an enemy attacking you would be turned face up, discard it instead. So pay 0. They flip over a really big boost, like let's say like 3 boost icons. You defend, you play this, you get rid of it. Pretty good. So that is Defiance. We're going to move into our next card. And next up we have Flow Like Water. It's a 2-cost upgrade. Generates a physical resource if you discard it. It's a condition. Play under any player's control, max 1 per player. And as a response, after you play a defense card, deal 1 damage to the attacking enemy. So if you're doing a lot of defending and playing a lot of defense cards, you play this card on your character, and then whenever you play a defense card, you're automatically going to be doing pinging 1 damage. So you're going to be potentially reducing damage with the defense cards you play, potentially doing damage with them as well, depending on like if it's like something like Counterpunch or something like that. I think Counterpunch is a defense. But that does damage, and then cards like Flow Like Water are going to trigger whenever you play a defense card. So if you're playing a lot of defense cards, this could be really good because you're going to be doing just additional damage whenever you play one of those. So that is Flow Like Water, and we're going to move into our last card. And our final card is Reboot. 1 cost event. Generates a physical resource if you discard it. As an action, basically pay 1. As an action, ready a friendly android character and heal 1 damage from it. So if you're playing Vision, you can pay 1. You can ready Vision and then heal 1 damage from Vision. Or any of the, for example, the android allies that are in the deck. You can basically pay 1, ready the ally, heal a damage, and then potentially like attack with them again or thwart with them again, and so on. So that is Reboot, and that is the last card from this, what's been revealed from the Vision deck so far. Again, that's going to do it for this video. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Once more cards are revealed for these upcoming sets, I'll definitely be doing videos on those. And once other sets are actually released into stores, I'll be doing like unboxings and then basically letting you know what I think of various decks and things like that. I don't really know what the release schedule is like because it's kind of messed up right now. But I think we're supposed to be getting Mad Titan. I read somewhere on Reddit that people are getting charged for Mad Titan Shadow that have ordered it through Team Covenant. So hopefully that means it's coming within the next like week or so, in the next couple weeks hopefully. And then I know we're supposed to be getting the Hood. We're supposed to be getting War Machine fairly soon as well. So once all those come out, I'll be doing videos on them as well. But again, that's going to do it for this video. I want to thank you again for watching. Take care and have a good one.